Yo, it's Who's Your Main time.
Oh,
That's what you said we were doing, right? For a bit.
okay. Yeah, well, he's not wrong, folks. Welcome to Who's Your Main with me, Jared, and also me, not me.
I'm Anthony.
Yes, good. Yes, someday we'll have a cool intro bit, and it'll be like, da 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 da, you know, or whatever.
Oh, yeah. That'd be cool.
Yeah, and stay out of my closet.
Okay.
Still working on
Wait,
that, too.
Got some skeletons in there or something?
Oh, just a bot.
Oh, right. Forgot about him.
I converted him to a vacuum cleaner for now.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to keep this place clean.
Great. That's what he's been reduced to. He just sucks.
He just sucks, yeah. Oh, fuck, that's a good bit. Write that down, write that down. Would you like to play Budokai?
Yeah. Some great acting.
I tell you what, I feel like we've not been doing a whole lot. We've been in like cocoon mode of video games because we've been playing open world games, folks. Me and Anthony were like, we're gonna go our separate ways. We're gonna both play different games, and I went and I was like, oh, I'm gonna fucking play Tears of the Kingdom. I need to play that Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. I still haven't played it. I don't know anything about it. I'm gonna jump into that. And then you did. What did you do?
Well, I said I'm not going to play your open world Nintendo game. I have special interests. I have special tastes. So I went and played the open world cowboy game Red Dead Redemption 2. And then we very quickly realized we were both playing the exact same game.
Yeah, we're still just doing the same thing. I'll tell you what, yeah, they both have horses.
Yep.
Okay, technically I can make guns. I mean, they're very rudimentary guns that explode like very big, you know, cannon-sized guns.
Well, technically I can get a sword. I have a machete.
Oh, yeah. Here you go.
Pirate sword. I have a broken pirate sword.
Broken pirate sword. I had a broken master sword.
I don't think that's supposed to break.
Well...
Okay.
It's not broken right now. Somehow I've managed to not break it through all of the hours that I've been playing. Like I got it fixed and I pulled it. I did the sword pull animation, which I don't know. This version of the sword pull was pretty fucking epic. I was sitting there going, was this the best sword pull I've ever seen in a Zelda game? I mean, it was. And then with the context, once I had the context of the sword pull, then I was like, that was pretty good.
That's high praise. That's high praise coming from you, saying that it's the best one.
I don't know if it's the best one. I just, like, it really wowed me.
Yeah.
Like, Breath of the Wilds was pretty standard. Like, you go into the forest, and then you pull it. And you had to have so many hearts. This one, you had to have so many stamina, because I think they kind of realized the priority of how people played Breath of the Wild and then went into Tears of the Kingdom with that knowledge of stamina being king.
Yeah.
So, like, you use all of your fucking currency that you get for buying either stamina or hearts. You just fucking dump it into stamina until you have 3 rings. And then once you have 3 rings, you're like, fuck, I wanted 4. They're like, no. Why would you you need hearts. I don't need hearts. Let them kill me. For fuck's sake. I don't care. Yeah. Yeah, the sword pull was pretty epic. I was pretty impressed. I've been pretty impressed with the movement, the gameplay. The gameplay loop is just like a better and more refined version of what they were doing in Breath of the Wild, which this is not news to anyone who's played these games. But for me, it was like, whoa, I actually like this a lot better. What the fuck? Why didn't they do this in the original? Well, they didn't know, okay? They made that game, and they were like, look, it's Ashitaka. I mean, Link.
Yeah, when you were playing the first one, and I was kind of watching you play, I think we both were sitting there kind of, I don't know, I don't know if this deserves the 10 out of 10 hype that it was getting from everybody. It's kind of just your bog standard open world game. And then when you started playing this one, it was very obvious, not only in the updated visuals, of the world that you're partaking, but also just the way that you get to interact with it. It was very obvious that the first game was kind of a proof of concept, and then the second one was them mastering that and giving you so many more tools to play with and letting you just explore the world and have fun in the world.
Yeah. The original game, which that argument of whether or not it should have the 10 is an argument now as old as time, and the one that's been beaten to death, and like we need another voice in the well or whatever. But like, it was a pretty good game, and I probably should play some more of it to show you more of it, because I did dump 120 hours into it the first time I played it, and I had a good time, but I definitely sat there like going, man, I just wanted more Zelda, but they had really shaken it up and changed the formula. Maybe because the people who work on Zelda were bored. I should probably look into that. Maybe they got bored and they were like, can we make something different, boss? They're like, yeah, just make an open world game like that there Witcher game. Okay. I don't know how many years in development it was before Witcher or whatever, but I mean, I bought it. I got a Switch One when Switch One came out, and I bought that. Well, I think I bought Mario Odyssey first, because I was like, I really should buy a Mario game for my Switch, and then I'll buy that. And then I went and after I beat Mario Odyssey, I was like, okay, it's time to play Zelda. One of my favorite series. And I was like, this is not Zelda. What is this? This is so different. Why did my sword break? Oh no, my sword broke. What the fuck?
You had the ultimate analogy, which was the things that were supposed to be permanent and a part of Link's kit were destructible and consumables, and the things that were supposed to be consumables were things that you had permanently. And so it was like you had all of the bombs that you could ever want, but you didn't have swords, and you didn't have your shields, and you didn't have, the things that you would consider to be a core element in what it is to play a Legend of Zelda game. But you did have this other stuff that allowed you to play an open world game. And so I'm right there with you. There's a lot of things about the first game that were kind of, I don't know. But playing the second game, I think they found the vision that they were looking for.
They definitely refined everything. It's definitely a refined look at the original game. And that's cool. I mean, I was thinking about this today when I was playing Tears of the Kingdom for a bit with the kids, was the amount of arrows that I go through in both of those games. Like, it's just an enormous amount of arrows. And like a standard Zelda game, I think you would have like 20 arrows, and then you could upgrade to 30, maybe even 40, depending on the game. And like, you just really just didn't shoot your bow as much as you would just sword enemies, or use a hook shot, or use the boomerang to deal with things. But this game, I'm just like fucking launching arrows. Like, at the beginning of the fight, it's like, pow, 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 pow. And I'm like, oh, fuck, I'm almost out of arrows again. But I'll have like hundreds of arrows, and then they'll be gone after I've been adventuring, for a whole game session. And I'm like, oh, I gotta go get more arrows. Fuck. But I do appreciate in this one that I have to manage my bombs. And I don't just have infinite bombs, because that's just ridiculous in a Zelda game to have infinite fucking bombs. I mean, I still basically have infinite bombs because I go and farm them. But, the return of the bomb flower was there's so many more references in this game. And I'm just like, oh boy. Oh, that's nice. But yeah, tell us about Red Dead Redemption. I put that game down. I was gifted it by my brother, and I still haven't picked it back up. But I know you've been putting in a lot of time into it.
Yeah. Exactly the same situation happened with me, where this is a game that my brother bought for me when it originally came out, and it was a situation where he had come home from deployment, and he was like, "Hey, you got to try this game." Bought it, and then I literally watched him play it, and then never really picked it back up in earnest. I've beaten the game. I know how the game ends. But, this time I think I'm really appreciating the game for what it is, where I'm not passing the controller back and forth. This is my playthrough of the game. And, it's exactly what I want from an open world game. There's elements where you have your you essentially have 3 meters, 3 pips. You have your health meter, you have your stamina meter, and you have your Deadeye meter. And you need to keep all of those full, but then you also need to keep them from draining, if that makes sense. And so health is pretty easy. It's food. You eat food every day. If you get overweight, then your stamina decreases. If you get underweight, then your stamina increases, but your health goes down. And so there's that pip. Then you have your stamina pip, which is used for like running, lassoing, any kind of like physical strain. And then you have your Deadeye, which is like your ability to go into kind of like this bullet time effect. And the way that you maintain that is by smoking and drinking. And so if you go full straight edge, you lose the ability to be a gunslinger. But if you overindulge and you drink too much or you smoke too much or something like that, yes, your Deadeye is incredible, but your health suffers. And so it's just this really cool push and pull of trying to keep those 3 pips in balance, all while playing this really interesting open world game where you're collecting horses and collecting guns and all of this other stuff, while there is an amazing, incredible story going on. And so it's just it's a very fun game. It's a very well polished game. I'm having a ton of fun playing it. I know there was a night where you were playing Legend of Zelda and I was playing Red Dead, and it was kind of like we were both doing the same thing where it's like I'm trying to catch a wild horse and bard it and tame it and have it be my in my stable, and you were doing the exact same thing with a golden horse. And it was just that idea of like doing these tasks that maybe you don't need to do, but it's like, ooh, shiny, something over there. Let's go see what that is. And then it's like, oh, shoot, that's a really rare horse breed. I want it. And you just constantly are getting distracted from the main story. So I'm having a ton of fun getting lost in the world.
It did take me back to Witcher 3 when we were playing that.
Yeah.
And just like getting distracted by the fucking pips of fucking treasure chests everywhere, or just like playing fucking Gwent and just being like, oh my God, I got to stop in here. I do think that that's kind of what's missing from Tears of the Kingdom, is like that community that you can come back and be a part of, and really being linked into the people. There are like quests, but I, for the most part, ignore them. They just slow me down in what I'm doing. But catching horses, both of these games did. Red Dead Redemption and Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild. This is like being able to catch. You could catch so many fucking horses in Tears of the Kingdom. You could only have like 5 horses in Breath of the Wild. I can have like 10 horses. It's crazy. Look, 10 horses? What am I supposed to do with 10 fucking horses? I'm going to catch them all and name them.
Yeah.
They're going to be different colors.
That's exactly what I was doing. Yeah.
Yeah. This is going to be my... Because I think there's a similar mechanic in Tears of the Kingdom where I can put a horse saddle on that has a pull bar, so I can attach stuff to that and drag it around, whatever, either that carriage or just like fucking random trash or a Korok, which most people I think do what I do with the Koroks and torture them before you take them to where they need to go, because you're just like, you stupid fucking living potato, quit giving me your poop.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure you were doing that. You had that fucking giant horse. I had just caught a giant horse just a few days ago. The kids were like, that horse is so big. Why does it look like Zelda's horse, but it's huge? And I'm like, this is like Zelda's horse, but if it like got with Ganon's horse, because Ganon's horse was really fucking big that you could get in the first game. And it's just like this monster horse, like so big. And I saw you just riding that in the fucking like cowboy land.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing to that fucking workhorse there, bub?
Yeah, so the way that it works in Red Dead is there's 3 classes of horse. You have a workhorse, you have a race horse, and then you have a war horse. And each one is good at different things. And so the workhorse has the highest health, but it's obviously very hard to control, and its stamina is very poor, and its speed is very poor. But it's very difficult to have your horse die in a gunfight, but also it's very difficult for you to be bucked from your horse once you get your horse bonding up, because both you and the horse are so proficient at holding your ground. So yeah, it has its advantages, but it definitely wasn't the horse for me. I very quickly traded that horse in, and I think now I have an American Thoroughbred as my like go-to horse, and it's much better.
Yeah, you're going to be able to recognize real horses now, aren't you?
Yeah, I know. That's the problem is like anytime I lock into something like that, it's like I hyper focus on something and then that becomes something that is like permanently ingrained in my head. And so now I just know that thoroughbred horses have 7 speed. And it's like, great, what am I going to do with that information for the rest of my life?
Well, you're going to play Red Dead.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, I don't know.
I think the other thing that's so crazy about that game, it's incredibly immersive, where you could just get lost in playing it as a cowboy simulator if you wanted to. There's never a point where the game breaks and pulls you out of the game. So for instance, like let's say you go into town and you're like, oh, I need bullets, or oh, I don't have any food. I'm gonna go into the general store and buy food. You can go up and talk to the clerk, and it will give you a catalog to go through, and you can buy things from a catalog. That's quote unquote the menu. Or you can walk through the store and grab things off of the shelves and then go up to the clerk and be like, hey, I want to buy all of this stuff. And then you pay him and you walk out. It's literally like you're playing a like lifestyle sim in a cowboy game. It's incredible. It's very fun, very immersive. Obviously you can switch back and forth between kind of the third person camera and the first person camera. I prefer to play a third person camera if it's going to be a shooting game.
Yeah.
And so I know that's counterintuitive to everybody that plays, hyper competitive games, but that's where I grew up, right? That's like, I'm a console gamer. I grew up on third person shooters. That's kind of my jam. And so that's how I prefer to play it. And you just get lost in playing a very, very realistic game. It's been a lot of fun.
What other third-person shooters were you referring to? I'm trying to think. I'm thinking Jet Force Gemini.
Uncharted 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 5, and 6.
I just like to see the guy, okay?
Yeah.
Gal, whatever.
Dead Space is another really good example.
Resident Evil.
I'm the type of person where if I see him, I become him, right?
Yeah.
If it's first-person shooter, my inner dialogue, my inner me that's me, right? But if it's the third person view, then me, I don't know if that makes sense. Me becomes him, if that makes sense.
me becomes him.
Like the real me becomes him versus like the inner me. The inner me becomes the enemy. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it's got to be because you're watching them, right? You're able to you connect better with the character. I'm like you. I want to see the character. I don't want to be in first person. Yeah, and also I'm not very good at shooters in general anyway, so.
Well, yeah, I mean, if for no other reason, I would much rather, instead of aiming down sights and then I'm firing from a crosshair, I just want to have that console experience, I guess you call it, where like I hold down the aim button and it snaps me close. And then I do the fine-tuned aiming, I want to hit him. If they've drawn on me, I'm playing a lawful character. And so if they draw on me, I try to shoot the gun out of their hand and defuse the situation. But like if I'm in a life or death situation, I want to be able to aim up and hit them in the head and also have that ability. And so, I like that. I like the feeling of the reticule snapping to their head or, their center mass. And yeah, I know that can be kind of distracting or, not the PC experience. I don't care. That's how I like to play.
I like that, the thought of you playing a lawful character. It's like, nah, we ain't need to fight.
That's the thing, right? Is like, I think it's more important in a game like Red Dead to be a good character than the opportunity for chaos is so easy to indulge in that in my mind, it's even more important to be a lawful character because, like, if somebody does something to you in a video game, you just pull your gun out and you shoot them. Well, in this game, you shoot them and then there's a witness. Okay, well, now I got to kill that witness. Okay, well, then now there's a witness to that murder. And then before you know it, now you owe $250 to the United States government and you're never allowed back in Valentine again. And it's like, well, wait, what the heck? I just went in to buy coffee. What happened? And it's like you got into a little pissing contest with somebody over where you parked your horse.
I like that one thing that you were talking about when I was watching you play, and you're like, I love how Arthur, that's the name of the character in Red Dead, Arthur Morgan. I like how Arthur has these little bits of intrusive thoughts. And I was like, what do you mean? You're like, look, watch as I ride past this person. See, it says jump to their horse. Why is he thinking that? I was like, that's so funny.
Like the opportunity to just like destroy everything is always moments away, you know?
Yeah.
It's so fun. There was a moment when I was playing and you were watching me.
Yeah.
And random events happen all the time when you're on the road. And I was riding on the road to go do a quest, and somebody had blockaded off a bridge, and it was bandits. And they were like, hey, if you want to cross my bridge, you got to pay the toll. And I just pulled out a stick of dynamite and threw it and blew up their carriage and killed, 8 guys that had me dead to rights. And it was like, well, if you want to get off my bridge, it's like
actually
you're seconds away at any moment to just like the entire world collapsing around you. It's like in my head, it's like, oh, I have to play a good character because if I don't, nothing will ever get done. I'll just constantly be goofing off and blowing stuff up.
Just be shooting people in the face.
Yeah, just constantly in a gunfight. Because what happens is once you start getting a bounty, lawmen will start coming after you.
Good.
And they're like, hey, freeze. If you run, we're going to shoot. And then it's normally a large posse. It's not like 1 or 2 guys. It's like a group of 10 guys. And that's not something that you can win in an open. If you're in an open field, you're not going to win.
Right.
And so it incentivizes you to try and play nice. I guess I should say that.
I was cracking up too about the hat situation.
Oh my gosh. I this is what I was talking about before about me hyper fixating on something in a game.
Yeah.
So in the game, your hat has physics. If you get bucked off your horse, your hat falls off. If you get shot at and you duck really fast, your hat falls off. I'm constantly losing my hat in that game. And so what happens is I'll get into this big giant, gunfight. And it's like, oh, shit, I lost my hat. And so then you walk over and take it from somebody that you killed, put it on your head, and you're like, all right, well, I'll wear this hat. And then 15 seconds later, you lose that hat, and you're taking the hat off of somebody else. It's like this perpetual hat chain that you just can't get rid of because it's like, I keep losing my hat. I don't want my head getting cold.
The hat situation would make me into a murder hobo. That's a damn fine hat you wearing.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. You'll be riding on the road and you can. So when you interact with somebody else, you have 2 options. You can greet and you can antagonize.
Yeah, I forgot.
Greeting is like, hey, howdy, mister, how you doing? And antagonize is like, hey, pussy, what's going on? And then they pull their gun on you. And it's like, well, shame. I guess I'm going to have to take that hat off your hands.
The damn fine hat you wearing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was cracking me up too because I was like, Dad, I would get lost in the fucking hat wars. That's what happened to me.
Well, so there's a event that takes place during the main story where something bad happens to a member of your crew. 2 of them go off on their own and only one of them comes back. And so they're like, hey, we're going to send out a search party. Don't even worry about it. Arthur, why don't you take him into town, get him drunk, take his mind off of it. Because the other guy's really shook up about what happens. So it's like, no problem. Come with me, man. You go into town, you get pissed drunk, and of course, you get into a bar fight. Of course you do. And in the same way that you were talking about in Fallout New Vegas, people would not stop talking about Prem. People will not stop talking about this bar fight that I got into. And it's like, even Arthur is like, who cares about that? That was weeks ago. Like, that's old news. I'm over it. And they're like, well, I'm not over it. And it's like, okay, then let's do something about it then, I guess. I don't know what you want to do.
I love that. That's so funny. I think I remember that quest. I played that game very briefly. And I feel like I remember going to that bar and getting fucked up. You get so fucking drunk. I love how Arthur's like stumbling around. He's like, come on, boy. We gotta go.
There's a scene where they, defy your expectations, because there's a scene where you bump into somebody when you get so drunk that you start slurring your words. Like normally when you talk, there's literally an icon that says greet and antagonize. There's two options. But you got so drunk that those words started slurring, and so they were like misspelt and all that stuff. And so you're going through and you bump into somebody and they're like, hey, mister, you got a problem? And it's like, okay, here it is. Here's the bar fight. And then it cuts to you four dancing, and you're like line dancing, and you're like, hey, da, 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 da.
Oh my God.
It's so funny. You're looking for your friend, and I can't for the life of me remember his name right now, but you're going through and you're just shouting his name. You're blackout drunk and you're shouting his name as loud as can be in a bar. But then eventually, as you get more and more drunk throughout the night, everybody's face starts turning into that guy's face.
Yeah, I forgot about that. I remember now.
You're talking to a woman, but it's got his face, and you're like, are you my friend? And she's like, do I look like your friend? Yep.
You sure do, baby.
It's really funny.
Oh man, I was feeling the pull to play that game too, but I was just like, God damn, like that would be another open world game to play right after I'm like be finished playing the one that I'm playing. And it's like, damn, I'm missing linear storytelling right now. Like I'm enjoying myself, and I know that you are as well. And it's just like, damn, can I just get off this ride? I just want to be off this ride for a little bit. And get on the easy one over there, the Top Gun, whatever.
Yeah.
That would be great.
You and I both have the same problem, which is if you're going to tell a story, I don't want it to be broken up. I don't want it to be me deciphering the story. I want you to tell me a story, and we enjoy it together. The narrator and I enjoy the story together. If I do a mission in Red Dead Redemption 2, and then I progress to the next mission, there could be 20 hours in between one mission and the next. I have no clue what they're talking about. I don't even know who half the people in my little posse are, because it's been so long since we did anything with them. I don't associate with them, So I know you had a very similar gripe with your game, where it's like, if you're going to tell a story out of order, you need a way to piece that stuff back together so that you can tell me the story the way that it's meant to be told, chronologically.
I mean, that's obviously my biggest gripe with Tears of the Kingdom, the Legend of Zelda game. Breath of the Wild, it made sense. Like, your character wakes up and he has no memory, and then you have to piece your memories back together so you can figure out what you're supposed to be doing. And it's all jarbled and messed up. And so you have to visit all these locations and then try to figure out, like, what was the event, the order of events. But for this one, I just didn't feel like it was necessary. And it was just like they reused that formula for this storyline. And I was just like, this is so egregious, because you can see a cutscene that's like a huge spoiler for the story, but you're supposed to like piece it together later. And I'm like, why? Why are we doing it that way? We should have not done it this way. This should have not been how this story was presented. I've not looked at the criticisms of this game, so I don't know how people reacted to it. I think it was like 3 years ago when it came out. But that's been my biggest gripe, especially with like an open world game. I don't really want to have a story told to me out of order. I want the events to take place. I want the over-arc, and I could go do the main quest, and that storyline is linear and quick. And then you can let me fucking wander around randomly, I guess. I don't know. And I do like that. I do think the open world games are fun, but they become very shallow to me. It's very shallow-based gameplay. And I think that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But I do sit there and I'm like, damn, dude. I can't believe you would let me see that cutscene before you let me see the other one. Like, that would be a big spoiler to that cutscene. Like, oh, what's going to happen? Well, I already saw what happens. It's dumb. It's not dumb. It was cool, but fuck.
Yeah, exactly. I think you and I are both on the same page there, where, you know, that's just something that, well, I mean, you know, from a story standpoint, obviously, we want to find out the story at the same pace that the character is, obviously. But I think even from taking a step back and removing yourself from the story and thinking of it from a gameplay perspective, I know you were griping the same way that I gripe about this, where if it's an open world game, the game doesn't know if it's your first time doing something or your 100th time doing something. So a cutscene plays to be like, oh, look at this. It's a cool little animation. That animation was really cool the first time I saw it. I don't need you to show me skinning a deer for the 30th time. I just need you to give me the deer pelt, you know? I know you were complaining about the same thing about the
egregious.
shrines and stuff like that, where it's like, I don't need you to show me this cutscene again. I've seen it 30 times, but the game doesn't know that it's your 30th time. It thinks that, you know, this is important. Watch. It's like, okay, I have been. Got it.
I don't want to fault Nintendo too hard. They just don't understand that, like, crafting and those kind of repetitious moments are just like, they feel like a huge waste of time, because they are. It's like fucking Animal Crossing. They made it so you could craft stuff, but you could only craft things one at a time. Breath of the Wild, you can cook stuff, but you can only cook things one at a time. And all these things in both of these games and in Tears of the Kingdom, you need more than one of them done. And so You're telling me I have to sit here and watch this fucking 10 times? Like, Jesus, this is egregious. I'm just like standing there, and it's like doing the cooking thing, and then it's like, ding, do, 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 do. And I'm just like, finally, I finished my 10 cooks that took fucking 20 minutes. Like, fuck me, dude. Just let me get through the cuts. Just like cook 10 of those. Thank you. Oh, fuck, dude. And after I get a fucking shrine orb, just give it to me. Don't make me like watch the cutscene that you've played. I think there's 120 shrines in the original game. I don't know how many is in Tears of the Kingdom. I've not looked that up. I try not to look up spoilers for the thing that I'm doing. But I'm kind of getting to the point. That's the other thing with open world games is like, you start to get to a point where you're like, okay, I need to get some stuff. And I'm not getting anywhere because I'm like, I've found my groove that gets me by. And so I'm just going to keep doing this rather than like expand out and figure out where stuff is and what's to do. Because I'll just fucking get lost in a gameplay loop, and then I'll have to go back and replenish my stock so that I can go do that stuff again. Where I can now look up like, oh, this is where this armor is. This is where this quest starts, so that you can get this thing. And so then you start have to look that stuff up outside of the game. And then now you're starting to pull me out of the game. And I don't know if it's like all open world games do that to me, but I don't really like that. And I'm just like, keep me in the game somehow. Like, can you mark everything so that I go to it? Fucking, you know what game fucking did that really good that was open world? Was Sonic Frontiers, man. That game was like, here's all the blips. Go to them. Go do everything. You did it. Good job. Here's the boss. I love that. I liked that game a lot.
My two biggest gripes in any game, this started all the way back with like the Batman Arkham games. If you're going to give my character X-ray vision or whatever it is, you know, detective vision, whatever you want to call it, if you're going to give me a special vision where I can only see collectibles or consumables or whatever when I have that on, that needs to be on 24/7, because I'm going to be holding it down 24/7 after I've cleared a room and I'm looking for the loot, you know? And the other thing that drives me insane, don't let me leave your game because there's no guarantee that I come back. So if you let me leave Red Dead Redemption 2 and I get on YouTube and I start looking up, where do I find all of the, you know, best guns, or where do I find all of the saddles or crafting materials or whatever? Now I'm still getting that same like, ooh, a piece of candy, ooh, piece of candy. Only now it's happening on YouTube instead of it happening in your game. And there's no guarantee that I come back to your game. So keep me in your game and, like you said, have that available on the map. Let me toggle that stuff on and off so it's not, you know, just vomit on your map. I don't want the entire map to be covered in stuff. But when I want it to be there, and I want it to be in game.
Yeah. That could just be us, but that's what I want too.
Yeah. Well, and again, I think the thing that you and I do to remedy that and fix that is mods, but we don't have the option for that in these two particular games that we're playing.
That's true. Yeah.
And so it's even more glaring because we're used to kind of that Bethesda style where it's like, oh, this bothers me. Hang on a second, I'm going to go spend 4 hours and fix it, and then you go off and you run off and mod it, and then you come back and it's like, wait, what was I doing? And then you just start over again.
I'll tell you what, that New Vegas ruined me. I never cared about survival in games like this, open world. I guess we just played an open world game because we played New Vegas. Okay, so
true.
I can just shut up about that too, I guess. But anyway, the survival mode, like I just like fucking fell in love with that, and I wish that was an option in. I don't think it should be the main thing in most games, but in games like this, that's such a fun option to have to add that next layer, because once you start getting good at a game like this, like it's really hard for there to be any kind of a challenge. Like even the Lynels and the Gleeoks and these are all like big time monsters that you find out in the world of Tears of the Kingdom. These big boss monsters aren't even that big of a trouble anymore for me. And I'm just like, okay, like even though I play like a fucking idiot, I can still just spin to win with a giant log and kill the fucking boss and tank blows with high defense food, And so I'm just like, yeah, if I also had to worry about if I had enough to eat and drink today, or if I slept enough, or I get all these debuffs, that would be nice. You got to find a water source. Like, yeah, okay. I'd love to do that shit. Thanks, New Vegas.
In all seriousness, New Vegas has an incredible survival mode. I do think that Fallout 4's is better, but there were a lot of things that you added in through mods that made it very similar to 4. But I agree with you. I think this is so insane to me that this can be fun, but to me, this is the most fun that I have in a video game. I will be sitting in camp in Red Dead Redemption, and it's like, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I need to go to this town, or I need to go to this map marker on the map. Okay, it's this far away. I need to make sure I have bullets. I need to make sure I have, if I'm hunting, I need to make sure I have bow and arrow or the varmint rifle with the appropriate ammo so I don't destroy the pelt. I need to make sure I have food. I need to make sure I have whiskey and tobacco. And then when I have all of my supplies, I head off, do my thing, come back. And it's like, that to me is so fun where, yes, obviously exploration and all of that stuff. That's the fun that you have on the journey. But the planning stage of the journey is so fun to me. And that idea of like going back into town and resupplying, and then now all of a sudden I'm good to adventure as much as I want. That's so cool to me. I love that idea of I need to have these supplies. Like in New Vegas, if you just left in a direction, we were playing on the hardest difficulty. If you just left in a direction, you were going to get jumped by an enemy. It was going to take away your resources. And eventually you would run out of those resources. For you, I know you really struggled with water. You had to have water caches set up around the map. I just think I love that idea of this is just as important as my bullets or my gun or, whatever it is. I need to have supplies so that I can do whatever it is I need to do. That it's just a really fun, and I get that it's not for everybody. I know that seeing what's in your backpack isn't exciting for everybody. I love that. I love knowing what's in my backpack. I love imagining like, okay, if I was packing for this trip, here's how I would pack it. Here's where I would pack it. Here's what I would pack. I love that. I think that's awesome.
Oh my gosh. There's a couple of things I was thinking about. One is Tears of the Kingdom has no carry weight system. You have so many slots for things. And so you can increase your weapon, shield, and bow slots, but I can carry as many arrows as I can. I can carry, and so then the other thing you can carry crap loads of is building materials, and then just your crafting materials. So building materials, I'm talking about the Zonite machines that you can carry and then attach and build like fucking Legos to make a car or to make a thing that attacks things or whatever, or what have you, whatever you need it for. You could just carry as many of those as you could carry. And I'm just sitting there going, man, that's what it is. That's what it's missing. If I had to dump off all of my fucking like extra bombs off at the house, that would be awesome. And then have to come back and resupply. I could just carry whatever I want. I didn't even think about that. I can carry as many weapons as I can, as I have slots for. Doesn't matter if they're two-handers with a giant boulder on them, or if they're just like a little tiny knife with, nothing attached to it. It's that's what, I would love to see that in the next, if they do another one like this. I would love to see that as an optional difficulty mode. I wouldn't want that to be the main mode. I know a lot of people would fucking hate that shit. But you know what? I didn't particularly like a lot of the things that they did with the original Breath of the Wild. So, maybe I might be an outlier there. But number 2, I was thinking about this game that our buddy was playing. It was a climbing game. What the heck was it called? If I can find it here really quick, I will. Oh, here it is. It was called Cairn, maybe? CAIRN. It's this climbing game. And what was really cool about it was you had a backpack, but you had to arrange the stuff in the backpack to fit. If you could rearrange it and everything fit, then you could have it. And then I thought that was a really cool kind of like inventory management system, because I know you and I always get kind of, and then I put all the fire things over here, and then I put all the dragon parts over there. And isn't that so organized?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's like in my mind, it's exactly like you said. I understand. That's not something that's going to sell a game. That's not something that most people are going to want, right? But I love the idea. In Red Dead Redemption, I think a really good example for this, for the game that I'm playing, I have 2 holsters. I can carry a pistol in each holster. Well, I have guns for specific scenarios. So if I want something that I can't carry, well, I'll put it on my horse. Okay, well, now my horse is more important, because let's say my horse gets shot in a combat and it dies.
Yeah.
Well, all of my stuff was on that horse, And so it's the thing that we always talk about, like having a bag and then, the threat of that bag getting separated from you or lost completely. That's terrifying. That makes it more important to keep it safe. I'm treating a horse as if it's a bag, but like that's what I'm saying is like, now I have a bond in game, a numerical bond, but then I also have a physical bond with this horse, because I'm like, oh, you're important. You're not just a vehicle. You are more than that to me. You're something that I want to keep safe, and hopefully you want to keep me safe as well. I love mechanics like that. I think that's so cool.
Yeah, I wish that the horse had a saddle in Tears of the Kingdom. There are occasions where I've attached things to. Everybody makes this bike, which I didn't know until I was trying to perfect mine. But everybody takes 2 fans and then a steering stick, and they attach them into this like fucking bike in it. And there's like so many images of people making like the Akira reference with that bike. But once I looked at that, I immediately that went into my auto build, and I do it every time now. And I perfected it so it flies straight if I'm not doing anything. But sometimes I attach things to that bike, and then something could happen while I'm flying, or I could land wrong, and then my bike flips and rolls down the hill, and I go, my bike!
Yeah.
Oh, shit! And so I only get a little bit of that feeling in Tears of the Kingdom. Unlike, that would be sick if you had a bag and you had to fucking put all your fucking monster parts that you've been cutting off monsters the whole time. That would be sick. It's like, I don't want to lose my bag. That would be bad.
Yeah, that's literally what happens in Red Dead. So like a lot of the stuff that I've been doing here recently is crafting. And so you'll go out and you'll, let's say you kill 3 deer, you can have one big thing on the back, but you can have as many small skins or small birds or whatever strapped strapped in your satchel and strapped onto your horse. And so, but the problem is, if you die or the horse dies, all of that is gone. You lose all of it. And so, like I was saying before, I go out on a hunting trip and it's like, oh man, I'm getting all my crafting materials. This is going to be so good. I'm going to be so powerful after this. I'm going to have all of this stuff that I can make. And then on the way back, you get hit by one of those lawmaker posses. Well, now all of a sudden, I'm not going to stand in the middle of a field and have a last man standing and die. I need to protect my pelts.
Yeah, you better piss
dumb
off.
As it sounds, as dumb as it sounds, where it's like my value on life is more about, the loot that I have than me, self-preservation. But it's like, I'm not losing this, so you just take off and start darting into the woods.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, they're not catching me.
If you had asked me these kind of questions before I finished New Vegas, I'd have been like, yeah, I always turn that shit off. I turn carry weight off. That shit's annoying to me. And now I'm like, no, that's sick. That's so cool. I have to fucking think about that, because then I got really into Minecraft before that. I think that was when we were playing that server with all of my friends. That was a fucking. I'd love to do a retro replay, like run through of that world that we built. It was so fun. But it really reminds me of that. I think that's why the Souls system worked in Dark Souls and Demon Souls, where you would lose your souls and you'd be like, oh shit, that's all my stuff technically. But like, I didn't feel as attached to the souls as I do like, oh man, that bag has all my stuff in it.
Yeah.
Like I could just get more souls, because then you can transfer that into whatever you need. But that, I had to go into that specific area where that thing is that I hate to do, and collect all those fucking things, pull those teeth out, I hated that. Like, I don't want to lose those. Man, I think that's another aspect that's missing from Tears of the Kingdom, I think. For me, I think some people would be like, that's stupid, Jared, you're stupid. I'm like, well, maybe I am.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like you said, it definitely needs to be implemented correctly, because if done wrong, it's just annoying. All of the stuff that we're talking about is just annoying if you're not having fun and it's not set up properly. But this is an anecdote that I was talking to you about last night. I think it's hilarious. I was doing a legendary hunt. So there's only one of these animals in the entire world, and there's kind of a whole setup where you have to track it down before you can find it. And there's one of each species of animal. And I was hunting a bear. So this is the legendary bear. It's one of the very first missions that you get. And the person that you're traveling with, Hosea, he's kind of like the dad of the group, and so he raised you essentially from being a kid. He takes you out on this big hunting trip, and something happens, and the bear rushes you, and he falls back and gets hurt, and then you kind of jump in and you kill the bear and you save him. And so I have this legendary bear pelt that's strapped to the back of my horse. And Jose is like, hey, you want to come back to camp? And I was like, no. I had just started playing the game. So I was like, no, you go on ahead. I'll go back on my own. I want to find my own way back. I want to explore the road on my way back. So I have this legendary bear pelt strapped to the back of my horse. I'm riding back, and there's this woman on the road whose horse had died, and it had fallen on her. She's like, help, help, help. So I run over. I lift the horse off of her. And we lift it off together. She's able to slide out, and she's like, oh my gosh, thank you. But, I'm stranded out here, essentially in the wilderness. Can you give me a ride back into town? Well, I have a 1,000-pound grizzly bear pelt on the back of my horse. I can't take you and the bear pelt. So it's like, it's a legendary bear pelt. Like, I want to help you. I want to be a good guy and help you. So I'm like, I got it. I'm going to get off the horse. You get on the horse. I'll walk beside the horse. And the game wouldn't let me do that. It's like, okay, I'm trying to figure out a solution here. A random guy rides by. I'm like, oh, I can shoot that guy and you can ride that horse. I'm like, no, wait, you can't kill somebody to save somebody else. Never mind. And eventually the game was actually smart enough to be like, hey, you're obviously struggling to get me back, she was like, I'll start walking and somebody else can give me a ride. And I was like, okay, thank you. But it was like that moment of like, what's more important, like saving this person or saving the legendary bear pelt? It's like my stuff. I care more about my stuff.
I need my things, my shit. Yeah. That is exactly how it is. Oh my God. I know I'm enjoying myself with this game. I know you're enjoying yourself with this game, with your game. But I'm kind of getting to the point where I just want that linear storyline. Then here comes our buddy Zero. He's like, "Hey, Jard, guess what I'm playing?" And I'm like, "Hey, buddy, what are you playing?" And he's like, "Ninja Gaiden 1 Sigma, the Master Collection." He's like, "Look with your special eyes." I'm like, "My brand!" And I just had this extreme lust to jump back into Ninja Gaiden. And I've been trying to fight that off so that I can finish up Tears of the Kingdom. But I'm like sitting there. I'm like, do I really need to go back and play Ninja Gaiden again?
Yes.
One of my favorite games of all time. I would love to do a fucking deep dive, pull Zero in, talk about that. Talk about Ninja Gaiden Black. That was my favorite iteration of the Ninja Gaiden 1. And I still haven't bought Ninja Gaiden 2 Black. I still haven't played that. I was very tempted to pick up the Sigma collection. I know it's got a lot of differences, but I just don't fucking care. I just want to fucking play as Ryu and chop people in half. Come on! Pump that shit into my veins!
Yeah, especially with your brother. There are some very fond memories I have of in high school of those games where, you know, it really was. That was the original rite of passage, was playing those games and beating those games. They were hard, man. And I know the thing now is like Souls games and all of that stuff. Those were the original Souls games. That was the original, can you beat this level? Can you beat this guy? Can you beat this boss? It wasn't even beat the boss. Can you beat these dogs? The damn dogs kept killing everybody.
Fucking dogs with the kunai knives. Yeah, those guys.
Oh my god.
What about the fucking ghost fish, bro?
Yeah.
Until the spread through the whole fucking high school, it's like, use the Vigorian flail. Those guys were so impossible to deal with. You just be like, oh my god, I'm gonna die again. Yeah, I was suppressing that strong urge to just go full Ninja Gaiden and just abandon Tears of the Kingdom. I don't want to play with you anymore. I was like, stop showing me that, Zero.
Yeah.
Stop it. I can look away whenever I want. Well, I would love to sit here and talk more about Ninja Gaiden, but we're at time here.
Yeah. Burn through that one.
So, I don't know. Maybe we'll talk about Ninja Gaiden next time. Maybe you'll have to endure more of our open world exploits. We'll find out next time on Hoosier Main Z. Should I have done that with... Oh,
I used to have some. My bad. What were you saying?
Should we have done you fucking... Should we have done the DBZ outro?
Oh, yeah.
Find out next time on Hoosier Main Z. And then you say, see ya. Oh, no. Hoosier Main, see ya.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
All right. Let's get out of here. See you guys later.
Right.
All right. Bye.
See ya.